Welcome to the first ever episode of the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. My name is Nicole Coyne, founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring, where we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. In this first episode, I bring on Lindsay McDonald. She's the Chief of Staff of HSN Mentoring and has been around what it seems like forever. We talk about the 3 best practices when it comes to running a nutrition program within a gym. It is so important if you run a gym that you're talking about nutrition on day one. And so many people come to gyms that are looking to lose weight, but the problem is most gym owners completely skip over the conversation about nutrition. And in this episode, we talk about how important nutrition is during that initial meeting with a client. One of my favorite parts of the episode is towards the end when we talk about hybrid memberships. And Lindsay says, hybrid memberships means giving someone the best prescription to meet their goals from day one. And that's so true. We know that nutrition is so important to helping people achieve their goals. So if you're a gym owner looking to build nutrition into your business, this episode is going to be for you. Hope you enjoy. Lindsay, welcome to the first official episode of Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast.
Thank you. It is awesome to be here today.
I am just so excited to have you on. You have been our chief of staff and been an employee of ours for quite some time. You're actually the first mentor we hired for HSN Mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about how long it's been. It's been a journey.
Seems like yesterday, but I would say over 3 years.
Yeah. I would say you've helped a lot of people build their nutrition programs and grow it into really a core offering in their business.
Yeah. I mean, the best part of this job is having the opportunity to be that touch point with these gyms. So I would say to date, having over 1,000 calls for sure and talking to, I'd say over 400 gyms at this point.
Yeah, easily. I would say you probably do 1,000 calls a year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, you're a busy woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today it's the end of the year. People are starting to think about what their nutrition program is going to look like in 2020 and how to make nutrition really the foundation of their business. We see the fitness pyramid, nutrition's on the bottom, but most people kind of skip that conversation. And today, for our first episode ever, I'm hoping we could talk about the 3 best practices you see helping gyms run their nutrition programs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great time of year. A lot of gyms are doing goal reviews, speaking to their members, and finding out what they want is support with healthy nutrition. So it's a no-brainer to implement that for January.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, I'm positive most gyms that we talk to run nutrition challenges in January.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a great way to kickstart a program, but really individual coaching is where the magic happens after a challenge.
Yep.
So let's just dive right to it. What would you say the first thing when we talk about best practices, what is the best practice when it comes to gyms building nutrition programs?
For a nutrition program to grow, the entire staff needs to be on board.
100%.
First and foremost. That needs to be addressed from day one.
Yeah. So what does that really look like? I mean, so I'm picturing at our HQ location, obviously our staff has to be on board. Yep. I would say it even starts with the owner, right?
Yeah. I mean, the owner it's that person at the top, right? Yep. So whatever he or she is doing, that's going to trickle down to the staff, to the coaches, and that ultimately is going to trickle down to the members.
For sure. You're the leader of your tribe, right? And you have to be excited about something.
Yeah.
And if you're excited, your staff is going to be more excited and your members are going to be more excited. People watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
So definitely having owners on board. Let's talk about staff. What does that really look like?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing here is that you're educating the staff about the program before you launch it to the rest of the membership. You want to make sure that everyone's on board and it's being presented as a team opportunity and not individualized. So that's key.
For sure.
Yeah. So having a staff meeting, make sure they're educated as to what your program involves, how it's going to help your membership, how it's going to help create happier and healthier members for the long term, which really benefits everybody.
I think really helping your staff understand the problem that your clients are coming to solve, right?
Right.
Like everyone that comes to our gym and most gyms that we talk to, people want to lose weight, right? And if you are not talking about nutrition, your clients will not lose weight as fast or efficiently, and they're going to think the program doesn't work,
Absolutely.
right? So when the staff has clarity on how nutrition will help clients achieve their goals, I think it's easier for them to understand how to help, right?
Yeah.
And I also, we talk about elevator pitches all the time, right? Like what should staff really be talking about? Like what should they be saying? I mean, everyone needs to have the same language, right? Because if you and I are talking about the same nutrition program, but we're talking about two different things, clients are going to be confused.
Right. And they are already confused.
100%.
So when they walk into the gym, we should be offering them that simple solution to what their problem is. So coming up with an elevator pitch about what your program is about. So identifying how your program is going to solve a problem.
Yep.
Right. Explaining how someone can get started with your program as well.
Yep. And
then also talking about what that journey looks like once they get started.
Yeah. Let's dive into that. So, how someone gets started, you got to make it so easy, right?
Yeah.
Like what happens and logistically, if I am a member in a class that tells the coach I'm interested in nutrition, I'm hoping that coach doesn't write my name on a piece of paper and it gets lost, right? Like,
oh, it's happened though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's legitimately the answer we get from a lot of gyms.
Absolutely.
Or it just doesn't get passed, or they just say, oh, contact the nutrition coach. What should happen?
Right. They should be signed up for a free intro with the coach on the spot.
Yeah. So like walk over to the iPad and book an appointment, which is why booking software is so important, right? Automations. Yeah. So we need to have a simple solution. Staff needs to be on board. Staff meetings, right? What are some other ways to get staff on board?
I love the idea of having a staff challenge.
That's what a lot of gyms are doing, just to get people familiar with the program. And if they're actually doing it, they're able to easily talk about it, right?
Well, I think that when staff isn't giving the right message about your program, it's not that they're doing something to hurt your program. It's that they're not as educated about what your program is really about. So I think involving them in your program directly, it allows them to have a better vision as to how that program can help other members at the gym. When they're answering questions, they're able to actually speak from personal experience.
Which is huge.
And for the actual coach herself or himself, it gives them the ability to practice with the content, practice with the resources.
For sure.
Yeah.
So staff challenge. Another really cool thing that a gym did recently, we went to CrossFit HQ and we visited some gyms when we were there that were running the program. And one of them had the head coach be the first test client.
Absolutely.
And that was awesome.
Amazing.
Because this coach saw amazing results. And I don't know if it's just because I was there, but he was so happy and telling every member about how they need to do nutrition. And talking from personal experience. And not only that, but people were seeing his body change. And they're asking, what did you do? So getting your staff on board is absolutely huge. And Linz, I know one of your favorite things to talk about, and you've gone to conferences with me and talked about this, is the free intro. And this goes into having staff on board, right? But if the people doing the free intros do not understand the nutrition program or how it can help those clients, you're not going to get nutrition clients.
No, and that is the most pivotal time to have somebody start with nutrition is from day one.
Yeah. So that free intro person, like they need to be on board. Like that should be our test client if that's not the nutrition coach.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. So I think we've nailed that one, right? Like you got to have your staff on board. Let's talk about number 2.
Okay.
What would you say another big thing is? I always am preaching about a consistent message.
Yeah. And I think this goes back to the fact that, if you Google weight loss or nutrition support or fad diets, etc., the amount of content, the amount of mixed messages and education that's out there is massive, right? So people are coming to you. They want to know what is the clear solution or path that I need to follow. It needs to be laid out from start to finish. So if you have 3 people on staff and they're each giving their own impression as to what that journey looks like, it's only going to further confuse a client or member, and they're not going to they're actually not going to take action. They're just going to say, you know what, that just sounds like everything else I've heard. Yep. I'll wait for something else.
I think another thing that goes to consistent message is people need to hear things like 7 times before they take action.
Absolutely.
And if you're not talking about nutrition regularly, or you're only talking about it during a challenge, people are not going to understand how you can help them. Mm-hmm. So you have to be talking about it. What kind of things, when you look at the gyms that are super successful, like what are they doing to talk about it? Like how are they putting nutrition information in front of their current clients, people who are interested? What are they doing?
Right. So it's very clear on their website.
Yes.
For example. So, I encourage anyone who's listening to just go to a gym's website on their mobile device and look at that first screen, right? Yep. That first shot. What are you seeing there? Is it clear that nutrition is a core offer there?
Most gyms, it's not until we start working with them.
And until you work with them, or until you have to go digging.
Yeah.
But, I can speak from experience. Very busy, not a lot of time, even less patience, I would say. So when I'm looking for an answer, I'm not going to take the time. I'm not going to take the time to look through headers, look through lots of pages of content. I want to see that place of business has a solution for me right then and there. So you need to have it obvious in your tagline that it's more of a health and wellness operation. You need to make sure you have your offerings as a header, right? So looking for nutrition support, maybe some visuals of what you've done as well.
Yeah,
would be fantastic.
Like
success stories, yeah. And that also correlates to social media in terms of Instagram presence, right?
100%. You know, social media is a huge part of just building awareness, and people follow you on social media. People share stuff. If you're talking about nutrition, if you're posting things that people can relate to that they want help with. I know at our HQ location, when we post recipes, they're shared a ton of times and reach so many people. And we always get messages. People love recipes. Like, share some recipes, share some things that help you stay on track and make yourself relatable. Yeah. And that nutrition coach should be sharing them on the main handle. Going back, this is a question we get asked often, right? Like, what about people doing a whole separate social media account for a nutrition program?
It doesn't make sense.
And exactly.
Go to where the audience is.
Yeah, you've spent time building this audience. Like, keep it under your main brand. You want people to associate nutrition and fitness with your brand so that when they come in for a free intro, it's an easy conversation to talk about both.
And that's what's so important. So imagine if I came to your gym and I had only heard about fitness, right? And I was like, this is perfect. Those exercise classes look fantastic. I come in and then you start talking to me about nutrition behaviors and what am I doing on average day, et cetera. And I'm thinking, hold the phone here. I'm not here for any support for nutrition. I'm just looking for awesome workouts. Yeah. As opposed to, I'm seeing it on social media. I'm seeing what you've done. There's a lot of proof, a lot of evidence that what you're doing has been working. And it makes that conversation a lot more organic. It makes it easier to have because I'm expecting to be asked about nutrition.
With so many different gyms out there, I mean, there's 10 CrossFit gyms within a mile radius of our gym. Like, there's so many CrossFit gyms. And when people come to us, we ask them why they picked our gym. And they every single time say, because you make nutrition a priority. Like, no one else does that. And now you're separating yourself from everyone else in the business, right? Which I think is huge. So consistent message, social media is important. During classes, we just did a webinar yesterday for our current clients, and we were talking about questions of the day. Yeah. Like, what does that look like? I know you saw it happen when you dropped into our gym.
I was asked a question of the day about nutrition. It was great.
Yeah. And then it's a conversation starter. Everyone can talk about nutrition, but then the coach can actually give some nutrition tips, and you're keeping the nutrition conversation present within your facility. It has to be everywhere. Like, people really need to hear things so many times before they take action.
You do. And you don't know what's going to spark someone's interest on that day. So I believe the question was, what's your favorite protein to have for breakfast, I think? And maybe someone would have said oatmeal, not knowing that it's not a major source of protein. We should really dial that in. If you want to hear more about that, let's get you in for a free intro.
For sure. And then, people are going around, they're like, oh, Nicole, I'm sorry. And they know what we want for them as far as nutrition. They know we want them to be healthy. And, and it's just it's an easy way for them to associate nutrition with our brand. For them, But then also for their coworkers and neighbors, like anyone in our gym, if they were asked by a coworker or neighbor about weight loss or nutrition, I guarantee you they would tell them to come to our facility because we talk about it so much.
Yeah.
And I would hope that your membership, for gym owners listening to this, I would hope the membership knows they offer nutrition so that when they're asked a question, they would refer them to the gym. But most of the time that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's consistency. All right, let's talk about the last best practice.
Hybrid memberships.
What does that mean?
That means giving somebody the best prescription to reach their goals from day one.
I love that.
I mean, most people coming into gyms today, I would say, when you ask them, why are you here? What brought you in? Where do you want to be in a year? And more often than not, it includes weight loss.
100%.
Or I want my clothes to fit better. I want to have more energy, etc. And if we're not educating them on the fact that nutrition is the major piece that's going to get them there from day one, it's going to make your job that much harder as they go through.
For sure. And, it's so much easier to get someone bought in on day one than day 100 of their journey with you. So this is actually something we've revised constantly at our HQ location. When we opened the gym, we had a standard on-ramp, which we talked a little bit about nutrition for one-on-one personal training sessions.
Right.
And then we had a gold on-ramp option, which included an initial consult with the dietitian and our 4 personal training sessions. And then people would automatically go into a membership that continued with nutrition coaching and fitness.
Right.
And it's very clear that people that do that see better results because they have that nutrition support. And slowly over the years, we've made it become, more of a 12-week process, right? And there was still an option to get started without nutrition. Now there's not. So if someone wants to come into our facility, they have to start with nutrition because I'm so confident that that's going to be their best route for success.
Oh, absolutely. I tell owners all the time, imagine if you can track one person's progress going 2 different ways, right? So someone comes to your gym and they start just with fitness, right? And say it takes them about 18 months to reach their goal, as opposed to they start with nutrition and fitness on day one and they're able to reach that goal significantly sooner, right?
For sure.
So we only want what's best for our clients. So why not give them the best from day one?
For sure. I know there's a lot of gyms, and there's gyms that have gone on this bandwagon of starting with only nutrition and fitness before we even did, taking away the fitness only option. And I think it's so smart for gyms that have never done nutrition and don't have the systems in place. I don't think it's smart because if you have 20, 30 new people and new individual clients, that's a lot of work for a nutrition coach. But if you do have the systems in place, it's really important. Hybrid memberships basically means you're getting started with nutrition and fitness right off the bat. And with us, if someone cannot afford both, we have them start with nutrition only.
Amazing.
Because I know that that's going to help them achieve their results faster. People who are doing fitness, if they're not dialing in their nutrition, they're going to be more hungry and they're going to eat more.
And they feel like they have earned that.
Yeah.
Right? I work out, so now I can eat whatever I want.
And they eat more of that. And then they might even gain weight because they're eating more junk food, right?
Yeah.
And then they're not feeling well.
No.
And we're not covering well because they're not fueling their body properly. So hybrid memberships is definitely key. I think this is your part of the training process with HSN.
100%. Yeah.
You take every gym through the client journey and map it out. And as people are going into 2020, there really needs to be a clear client journey, right? How does someone get started? How does someone get started with both? And how do they continue, right?
Yeah. I think it's also partly mindset where you need to stop thinking of nutrition as an add-on, right? If you have nutrition as a core pillar of your business, then it needs to be a no-brainer. That's how they get started.
And I think people are not confident that they can help with nutrition, but really, what we believe at Healthy Steps Nutrition is something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. And the role of a nutrition coach is really to narrow it down and keep things as simple as possible, right? We talk about triaging like you would a squat. I'm not going to have someone overhead squat 100 pounds on day one. Same thing with nutrition. I'm not going to have them dial in and tell them they need to meet every single macro on day one when they don't even know what a macro is.
No, most of my clients started working with the plate method and saw amazing results. And what they enjoy about the program is having somebody to answer to.
That's what every single person, like if you look at nutrition clients that are with you for years, accountability is what they want.
It's huge.
And you need an easy way to do that for nutrition coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hybrid memberships. So new people, get bought in on both nutrition and fitness. Let's talk about challenges. Okay. Let's just dive on in.
Okay, let's do it.
January challenge, everyone's going to run a challenge, which is great. But if I had a penny for every single time that I heard I run a challenge and then our conversation of nutrition stops after that challenge, and I'm sure everyone listening to this podcast at some point was like, yep,
that's me.
Same thing. We got to change that, right? Like you have to make it so obvious with what happens after that challenge.
Yeah, I think it's looking at a challenge experience as just another way to get started with a long-term nutrition journey.
Yeah. And if you're not talking about what happens after the challenge is over, people will not understand why they need to continue with nutrition after the challenge is over.
It's going to come with that end date in mind.
For sure.
Yeah. So I think that all starts with the marketing.
Yep.
Right. So about 6 weeks out prior to, I try not to emphasize the word challenge too much. Right. I talk about nutrition on-ramp or how we're going to get started, because the ultimate goal of this is to have you comfortable with some simple behaviors and then move you into individualized coaching to really nail down what your goals are.
Yeah, so you should be talking about what happens after the challenge on day one, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a surprise.
It can't be, because if you don't talk about it before, people will not understand why they need you. They're going to think, oh, you taught me all this amazing stuff during the challenge and I can run on my own and do it. And we know that 80% of people will regain the weight they worked really hard to lose.
Yeah. If I had a penny for every time I heard someone say, I've been trying to lose weight for 10 years, but in these last 4 weeks, I have learned it all. Thank you. I'm going to try it on my own.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And please come back when you're ready for more help.
Absolutely. And you know that 4 weeks later, they have reverted back because they don't have that accountability. They think that the magic key was given to them and it was offered to them, but now they dropped it, right?
Yeah.
And that's you.
Yeah. So you really need, if you are running a challenge in January, you really need to have a clear plan of action after that challenge is over, how people are going to get started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lindsay, we talked about some really awesome things today during this podcast. Owners need to start making nutrition a priority. Staff all needs to be on board. You have to talk about nutrition consistently for people to understand that you can help them. Yeah. And lastly, you need to do hybrid memberships. That's the way to go. Yeah. Having a one-time nutrition consult does not make sense. People do not need a one-time consult. They need ongoing support and accountability. And if you can build a membership for nutrition coaching, that's the way to go for sure.
Yep.
It took me way too long to figure that out.
Yeah, but now you did. And now you can give that answer to other gyms without having to go through that process, right?
That's very true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Our first ever episode of
So exciting.
Grow Your Nutrition Business.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. For more information about HSN Mentoring, Grow Your Nutrition Business, for free resources and free help, check out growyournutritionbusiness.com. Until next week.